Given the foundation laid by the first three lessons, we're now ready to think about the culture of this empire system and its impact on things like life, community, and nature. And I get to relax a little bit more, breathe, and let some feelings in instead of just dumping cognitive facts on you like I did in the first three lessons, as I thought it was important to kind of chug through those foundational concepts. Now, this lesson will probably challenge some of your pre-existing ways of thinking if you come from either a standard left or right perspective that we get programmed in by the media. I think both of those are designed to distract us. I hope we can work through that to come to the truth. So, what's the sense of having a system if it's not designed to enrich dimensions like life, community, and nature? As I asked in the introduction of this course, how can the banking establishment's economists continue to justify what's really become an insane system? Regardless of the elegant equations, their economic theories are built on false assumptions about the world that have done a lot of damage to the world. But they seem to be so attached to their academic frameworks and, sorry to say, but their Wall Street paychecks, that they can't see the obvious staring them in the face. This lesson will dig into some of the attributes of our system that have been discussed at times by sociologists, psychologists, or philosophers and theologians. In fact, everybody. I mean, anyone who's not an Ivy League economist. But I think some of these folks have misdiagnosed the issue because they didn't understand the basic monetary foundation causing all the problems. And it's this issue of P is less than P plus I. The foundational mathematical inequality upon which our system is built. It's completely unstable. It's the cause of the rest of what we'll cover in this lesson. P is principal and I is interest. So at any given time, we the people in the economy have P dollars, and at the same time, the banking establishment has a claim on P plus I. So the banking establishment is basically a mining operation extracting wealth from the people. And those who think this is just for incremental loans in the economy need to watch lesson 1 and 2 again. All the money in our system has interest attached to it. We have no sovereign money. So the economy is constantly chasing more money to feed and pay off the banks. This means the foundation of our system is fundamentally unstable. It causes many of the problems talked about in other disciplines and the problems that we'll discuss in this lesson. The first one is that since the banks have a claim on more money than what's in the system, we are living in what I would call a wealth illusion. The numbers in your bank account aren't really dollars of wealth, but poker chips of the banking system. You can cash them in for stuff while the game continues, but once the music stops, you'll realize you don't have an asset, but a conditional liability. A liability of the bank. You have debt-based dollars. And this brings two more key flaws of neoclassical economics. It ignores the issue of our unstable foundation by taking it as a given, rather than thinking about what might be a more stable foundation. And it isn't quite honest about the definition of your wealth, because it calls our debt generation engine a wealth generation engine. Now, another trait of our culture of empire is the divided society between the money pushers on top and the rest of us that are the money users. The pushers live in the abundant world of P plus I, where life is pretty good, while everyone else lives in scarcity, the P world, where everybody is scrambling to pay more dollars than they have back to the banking establishment. This means we have an aristocratic or oligarchic system, which is, by definition, not freedom for most people. Now, we're still trained to think we have freedom, and we don't have a class-based society in the U.S., or an aristocracy. But it's just not true. This financial aristocracy pulls wealth from the masses without the need for knights or other archaic ways like kings did in the past. Now it just happens automatically because of the banking and legal system. So this means not only are we living under a wealth illusion, but also a freedom illusion. This is difficult to detect while the system is inflating because most people feel good and ignore the fact that they have a ruling class or aristocracy. You know, the music's cranking, the beer's flowing, the shoppers are shopping, but that doesn't change the fact that we're living in a tiered society. And once the system stops growing, it'll become real clear. This is really important to understand because freedom has gotten a bad rap as all the problems caused by our monetary system are chalked up to freedom. And it gets blamed for the sorts of things we'll be covering in this class. Nothing could be further from the truth. We are not living in a free market. We are not living in freedom. We are locked in a broken monetary system that requires us to behave in damaging ways. Do you really think a free people would have built this system? Don't let the aristocracy blame you and your supposed freedom for the problems their system has caused. And then don't let them use it to justify even more top-down control over you. Again, the problem is the monetary prison they designed to control everyone else. Now, another result of this monetary system is exponential growth. The system must grow perpetually, exponentially, as you can see in this exponential equation. Now, this is I don't know, it's a slight problem maybe, because Earth is finite and humans are not robots. It can't go on forever. And this causes all the problems associated with perpetual industrialization, increasing consumerism and endless shopping malls, and perpetual resource consumption. Now, this is a picture of what used to be gorgeous Appalachian Mountains in Kentucky, and they've been literally turned into a wasteland. All of these problems are necessary because of our system. People like to blame the masses for this. No, not at all. We must do this. We are hostage to a broken system. Blame the folks who built the system. Don't blame each other. If we don't continue shopping and buying more cheap stuff from China, well, we lose our jobs, companies go out of business, we can't pay for our kids' college, and on and on. We have to do those things. Now, the other symptom of this problem is exponential debt growth. It's no accident that states are bankrupt. It's no accident that the politicians keep increasing the debt ceiling either. They must do this. Our system is built on ever-increasing debt. Our money supply can only grow if our debt grows, thanks to the Fed monopoly system. And this guaranteed debt growth causes guaranteed inflation. That's why the dollar is worth pennies compared to what it was 100 years ago. And guaranteed inflation results in guaranteed deflation. We got a taste of that in 2008, and much more is coming, probably sooner rather than later. And that guarantees more bankruptcies and foreclosures. In fact, those are guaranteed even during inflation, because there's never enough poker chips or bank money for everyone to be able to pay off their debts. Remember from lesson 2, there's always more debt than money. But once deflation sets in, there's no end to the number of people who will face default. And don't blame the little people once this happens. Don't look down on people walking away from their homes. It's not their fault, really. Historically, the middle class and lower class get angry at each other when they should both look up to the ruling class and blame the monetary system they built, which set up the problem from the very beginning. And so we have another fundamental flaw of economics. It ignores exponential growth. And that was a manageable oversight as the baby boom fueled population growth, but that's now reversing itself, and it will cause a catastrophic end to this system if it's not changed.